Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Meredith E. Phillips and I'm going through a little bit of a writer crisis at the moment. Come join me. This is episode 3 of the Lost Vlog series. If you missed the first 2 episodes, I'll link those below, but basically I'm doing super secret stuff that in real time I've not been able to talk about, but by the time you're seeing this, I am allowed to talk about it. It's currently January 22nd, and I was working on some stuff last night, and I was just like, I am really confused about what's happening in my brain. So, if you've been around my channel for some amount of time, you have absolutely, without a doubt, heard me speak of this. The Positive Trait Thesaurus. Not just this book, which is in fact excellent, but there's a little something at the back of this book. You know exactly what I'm about to say. It is the almighty character profile questionnaire. I love this thing. It has extremely detailed questions. It's multiple pages. It smacks you in the face when you use it. This questionnaire has been part of my writing process now for years, literally years. I don't remember which project I started using it on, but I get to a point in the brainstorming and outlining phase typically where I think, okay, I really want to dig into these characters and figure them out. And this questionnaire helps me. It gets into some really detailed questions, and I go through and I answer pretty much everything in this questionnaire that is applicable to the characters in the story. And when I've used this questionnaire in the past, there always is something that the questions bring up in my mind. It helps me get a clearer picture of the character. It, helps me figure out a different aspect of them, or I always feel like I learned something about the character having completed this questionnaire. So I had pulled up a blank template version of this questionnaire. I'd pasted it into my Scrivener document, one for each of the 2 main characters, and I'd started trying to go through it last night and answer the questions, and I was so bored. I was going through the first couple ones, and I was just I feel like I've written down the answers to these questions already multiple times in other documents within this Scrivener file for this story. And I was scanning through the questions and I was just I don't want to do this. I don't want to take the time to do this. Which is, again, that sounds crazy because I've used this. It's part of the process. Processes can change. But for the moment, I'm just not gonna do it. It feels wrong, okay? It feels no, that's what you should be doing at this stage, is really digging into the characters and making sure you understand them and all this. But I feel like I have such a solid grasp on their backstories, what do they want, why do they want it, and all that kind of stuff, which is so important. And just, I feel like I have a good handle on their families and their relationship with their families and their friends and all this stuff. I feel like I already know it. And so I was sitting here just if you already know it, you don't have to write it down. You don't have to. So yeah, I went back. I'd taken a break from the actual story planning, plotting, and I was okay, now I'm going to do character work before I get back into the plotting. And I just I don't want to. It feels really weird to say that because, again, I've just used this for so many past projects and it has been very helpful to me. Maybe in a couple weeks I'll be you should have filled it out. But right now I think I'm going to skip it. Anyway, so that's what's happening here. I don't know what's going on in my brain that I feel like I don't need it. It's kind of audacious, honestly, but I've gone back to just plotting. And what I'm working on, or what I was working on this morning, was just a bullet point list of the scenes. I feel like at this stage I've gotten the first half pretty set. It's pretty in place. Still a few little details to work out. But overall, I feel like the first half is pretty solid. It's the second half that I have a lot of really good plot points, but I'm not sure in which order some of them should happen. So there are some big, like, I don't want to say a reveal, but like a twist, I guess. There's some big twist elements, and I want to make sure they're placed so that they'll have the biggest impact possible on the characters and on the reader and the storyline in general. They're really, I'm really going to put these characters through it, honestly. And so, yeah, I just want to I'm trying to figure out like how those should all fit into place. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. I just got to that point in the little bullet point list of scenes, and I'm just trying to figure out like, now what? There's some awkward like time issues too, where it's like, this wouldn't be able to happen until this month. But if they get married like a month prior to that, then what are we doing? We're just sitting around for a month. Am I going to skip forward in time again? Like, I don't like doing that. So anyway, just a lot to still figure out timeline wise. I've obviously got my calendar over here ready to go. I've got some stuff filled in because some stuff is like set in stone. Chapter 1 of this book takes place during the like climax finale of book 1. So like that date is already set by book 1. And so chapter 1, the date for when chapter 1 takes place is set in stone. Today, I'm just going to be working on that bullet point list and apparently avoiding this that I just decided I'm too good for, I guess. I don't know. I'm a little nervous. I feel like I'm going to miss something. But yeah, that's the little update. I'll be back when I have more. Hello, it's future editing Meredith here from March 1st as I'm editing this video for you. And I have to address this partly because I think it stands out visually, but also the story behind it is kind of weird. So you might have noticed in this clip that I'm only wearing one earring. There's a little gold earring in one ear and there's nothing in the other. Let me tell you the story of these earrings. That morning, I got up, got myself ready, put on the earrings. About mid-morning, earlier to this clip obviously, a little bit of my hair got caught on the earring, and I remember doing like this to pull the hair away, and it kind of pulled on the earring a little bit. I assume at that point it pulled it enough that the backing came off and the earring fell out. Went through the whole rest of the day wearing one earring, didn't notice. It's a little thing, you know, I didn't feel anything different. When I went into the bathroom at the end of the day to get ready for bed, I went to take out the earrings and discovered that one was no longer there. I was disappointed, as I do like this pair of earrings. I kind of did a cursory sweep of the house to see if I could spot it, but they're so small, I didn't find it. And I was like, dang, I really like that earring. But I put the one that was still left on my counter in the bathroom. There's one spot in my bathroom where I put my most used earrings, so they're right there to grab when I get ready, okay? 2 weeks go by. I go into the bathroom. I go to grab a pair of earrings off of that little spot on my counter. Both of the earrings are there. Both of the earrings are there. I didn't put the second one there. My husband had been out of town that weekend. If he had found it in the house, he never would have gone into my bathroom and even known where to put it. He would have said, hey, is this yours? And given it to me directly. How did it get there? I don't know. I have no idea where it came from, how it ended up back in my bathroom. It was literally right next to the pair were sitting like right next to each other. So anyway, that's the story of the earrings. If you have theories about what happened, please let me know. Hello, I'm back. I just finished up a little live stream. It's currently January 31st. I'm sorry. That first clip was from over a week ago. So I have been working. Over the past week and a half. Here's where we are currently. So far, I have not had any regrets about ignoring the character profile questionnaire. I feel like I'm stabbing my best friend in the back, but we're just accepting that and moving forward. I have a complete story. I went in and I'd revised my document where I'm just like telling myself the story. First this happens, then this happens, they feel like this about it, and then this happens, and then they feel like this about, this whole thing. It's like a 7,000 word just document. I have a story. It's completed. There are a ton of elements in it that I really like and that I think tie together really well. There's still elements about it though that I'm like, I don't know if this really works. Does this work? Like, I think we talked about in the previous vlog about like this extra pressure of it better be good, it better be good. I'm definitely feeling that pressure, and I almost feel like I'm unable to evaluate my own work anymore. Or at least not maybe to the extent that I used to, because I'm just second guessing absolutely everything. Where one day I'll look at it and I'll be like, no, this is good. It all fits together really well and it's satisfying at the, how it ties up in the end and the characters are good. And then I look at the same stuff the next day and I'm like, this is so dumb and it doesn't work at all. So I'm just going back and forth. The one thing that I'm really unsure of at the moment, and that actually truly might be a legitimate issue and not just my brain being like, ugh, is the fact that the hero and the heroine have two separate story goals, which is fine. Can be separate, that's not an issue. But there's nothing that puts those two goals in conflict with each other. And I feel like that's maybe what's missing here. So in Rogue's Guide, Hannah has the goal to enter her architectural work into the Royal Academy exhibition with the hope of getting her work displayed there. Christopher has the goal of gaining like basically guardianship over his sister, his younger sister. Okay. Those goals are, as you can see, completely separate, but the way I have the book structured, those goals end up in complete conflict with each other, where it's set up so if they try to help Christopher's sister, Hannah isn't going to be able to enter the exhibition. If Hannah enters the exhibition, they're not going to be able to help his sister, right? So that's how it's set up. Even though those goals are seemingly like have nothing to do with each other, the way I've structured the story, they do have everything to do with each other. This story so far, this new work in progress, their goals are very separate, but they never quite come into complete conflict with each other. There's a point later, late in the story where they kind of come in conflict with each other, but not really. And I don't know. Maybe it should be different. Maybe it should be different. It feels like there should be a point where they realize we can't both have what we want. Who's sacrificing and why? What are we going to go after and why and all this. So anyway, I'm still thinking through a lot of that. I guess we'll see where we end up. But that's like the piece that I'm really stuck on right now. There's another piece also later in like the third act breakup kind of area where I'm not entirely sure where one of the characters is going to be. There's like some timing issues happening that I need to figure out. Anyway, so there's still definitely things to figure out. I'm just still thinking about it. The other thing that I've been thinking about in the last little while is how I want to present this to my editor. What she's asked me for is fairly diabolical. She wants a one-page synopsis. A one-page synopsis. A two-page synopsis is difficult. A one-page synopsis is almost criminal, honestly. I feel like I've done it before. I forget, did I do one with Rogue's Guide? I forget what I did. But I have had a one-page synopsis before. And I feel like with that one page, in case you're unfamiliar, a synopsis is where you tell the entire story. What happens at the start of the story, how the story concludes, you spoil all of the major twists and plot points. Okay, it's the entire story condensed to one page. One page. This is so difficult to do because there's oftentimes plot points where it's like within the context of the story, this makes sense. The characters' motivations are in place and the actions they take make sense. But when you have to condense it like that, a lot of times the things you end up cutting are like the backstory and the reasons why they're doing things. And then it's like it doesn't make sense, because if you read it, you're like, why would they do any of this? It makes sense if you have all this other background information, but you can't fit all of that into the synopsis, but it still has to make sense or someone's going to read it and not understand. So anyway, I have to have that though, because that's what she's asked for. My original plan was to complete the entire book, outlining the entire book. I do very detailed outlines. I wanted to have all of that in place and then do the one-page synopsis and send that to her. But the issue here is she and other people on the publishing team have to read the synopsis and approve the idea. I have to get this approved first. I forget if I've explained this yet in one of the previous vlogs, but TLDR, I have to get this idea approved. So what I'm thinking now is I do not want to go through 2 months of intensive outlining and planning and getting everything in place to like be ready to start a first draft essentially. Send off the synopsis, and then for some reason they're like, "Ugh, no, we hate this. Try again." Like, I do not want that to happen. So I think what I'm going to do over the next couple weeks is try to get that synopsis like ready to go and send that first. Let her review it, let the other people on the team review it. Hopefully tell me it sounds good, and then I can go from there. I don't know. The other thing I've been thinking about too is I don't know, like, what are the chances that they say no? Like, they've already purchased a second book from me. They're getting a second book. So it's not like if they say no, then I'm just like out and I don't get to have another book. I do get another book. I would just have to go back to like square one and think of a completely different story. So I don't know, like, I feel like when you're querying and then when you're on submission, like your chances of success there are low. Certainly with querying, your chances of getting an agent are like in the single-digit percentage range, okay? Not great. And then I don't know what the odds on submission are. It's better than querying for sure, but it's still pretty low odds a lot of the time. And so I feel like every time I've gone to this step of like, here's my stuff, I need somebody to like it, my chances are so low. I don't think my chances in this situation are so low, but I also don't know what's realistic to expect. And that's one thing I wish I could ask, but I feel like that's the kind of question that is A, unanswerable, and B, even if it was answerable, I don't feel like my editor would actually tell me a number. So I don't know. I like knowing that kind of stuff though, even if the numbers are kind of depressing, because then I can set realistic expectations. If I had gone into querying thinking like, oh yeah, everybody gets agents, like it's just, you just get an agent, I would be horrifically disappointed to not get one, right? But I knew going in, it's a tough road, and I was prepared for that. But with this, I don't know, like, what are the odds? I need to know the odds, but no one's going to tell me. So anyway, those are all my jumbled thoughts at the moment. I almost feel like I should maybe try to write that one-page synopsis. I don't want to do it. I just don't want to. Oh my gosh, who wants to do that? Literally no one. Maybe that's what I'll try to do though. And see if I can make something that's coherent. I don't want to. It's fine. All right. I'm going to try to do that for a little while, and I'll check back in with you later. Okay, so I actually was relatively successful. I got an initial draft of a synopsis finished at around 800 words, which was like a page and a half. I did maybe 1.25 pass through revisions to tighten things up. It's down to like 740 words, something like that. It's like this far onto page 2, so I need to get rid of like 100 more words, and then it'll be a one-page synopsis. I'm kind of I still think I need to fiddle with story elements, but I'm just wondering, like, Like, how official does this need to be? I cannot imagine that they will, if I hand in a synopsis and they're like, okay, this looks good, go ahead. And then I start, drafting or doing an outline and I'm like, oh, wait, I need to like change different elements. Like, are they going to be mad about that? I don't think so. I've heard before how writers have turned in synopses or like proposals for books and stuff like that. And then like by the time they get to a first draft, it's like very different than the original idea they handed in. So I'm just like not sure about so many things. But I do feel good that I have at least like, I have something. It's almost finished. I think if I go through another time or two to tighten things up and reword stuff so it's shorter and whatever else, I think it'll be like at least halfway decent. I don't know. There's other elements though where it's like I need to weave another kind of thread a little bit more into portions of it so then the grand gesture actually like makes sense as to why it's a grand gesture. Because the first time I wrote it I was like, oh wait, this is the first time the synopsis is hearing about this one particular thing. Anyway, that's the little update for now. I guess I'll keep working on it a little bit tomorrow. And I'll see you then. Hello, it's Sunday, so good news and bad news. The good news is I did continue fiddling with that synopsis last night, and I got it down to a page. It's so much, it's not that you're taking out content or information, you're just having to say the same information in a much more condensed format. So it really is an exercise in understanding word choice. The one page, man, 2 pages is difficult. 1 page is just so hard because I feel like you have to strip out so much fun stuff or like phrases that make it a little more voicey. It sounds better. Like objectively speaking, it sounds better with certain phrases, but because of the page length form or, restriction, you have to cut out some of those phrases that introduce a little more voice to the piece. So anyway, it just like hurts to cut it because I'm like, it sounds better the other way. But the point of this document is not necessarily, I mean, you definitely don't want it to sound like horrific, but I think any editor, agent, whoever is going to read this knows that you're dealing with a very condensed format and it's not supposed to be an example of your best writing necessarily. It's just supposed to be, here is the story. I did finish it. That was the good news. The bad news is I was rereading it and I was just like, no, this is not it. It's not quite there yet. As a story, certain elements are really good and really fun and really it's like it's woven throughout really well. I think the biggest thing that I still need to go back and kind of figure out is more of that conflict of why can these two characters or why should these two characters not be together? That's the central conflict in any romance. There has to be something keeping them apart. Basically until the end, right? If they get together at the midpoint completely, then the story's over. So anyway, I was thinking again as I was sitting here and I wrote down a few notes. I did come up with a slightly different element to add in, but now I'm not sure how that will affect things in like part 2 essentially. So one of the other questions to ask yourself if you're kind of struggling through plot points or whatever, or trying to introduce more conflict, which is so important, one of the things to ask yourself is what's the worst thing that could happen to your character or characters. And sometimes that can be like overall in terms of like the whole story, like what's the worst thing that could happen to this person. Other times we're talking like just on a scene or an act level, what's the worst thing that could happen to them in this moment. And sometimes that is what can trigger better ideas, because then you make that terrible thing happen. The worst thing that could possibly happen, do it. There's definitely a very obvious, like, this is the worst possible outcome for one of the characters, and I was like, okay, well, let's play with the idea if that happens. I think I thought of a way to use that better, but that still doesn't necessarily fix certain issues. Still some thinking to do about this story. Again, it's February 1st. Oh, it's February 1st today. Happy February. You're probably seeing this in like 2 months or something, but happy day. I still, like I said, I still have a good chunk of time, so I'm not feeling super pressured. I just really want to get a synopsis that seems like pretty decent so that I can hand it off to my editor and like let that approval chain process commence. I also don't know how long that's going to take. I mean, it's a single page document, so it's not like they have to read a full novel and decide if it's good enough. They just have to read literally 1 page of text, which doesn't seem like it should take that long. Email it to whoever needs to see it, read it in like 10 minutes and then like doesn't, you know, it's the kind of thing where it's like, that does not seem like it should take that long for people to approve it. However, we all know that publishing can take for flippin' ever, and so I definitely don't want to think, oh, I'll send it to my editor and she'll get back to me in like a few days or a week. I don't know if a month. I don't know how long to expect that process to take. I just can't imagine it would take like that long. I don't know. I don't want to get myself into the headspace though of thinking it's going to be a fast process, because it might not be. The faster I can have this off, the faster we can get it back with hopefully a big stamp of approval on it. So anyway, I'm going to put some things aside for now. I am going to the movies later today. Can you guess what I'm seeing? Can you guess what I'm seeing? I'll show you what I'm seeing when I get there. But I think that's actually going to be it for this little vlog. I'm not sure how long this one ended up being, but you get what you get and you don't get upset. So if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, you can click the subscribe button. I usually post videos on Fridays. I'm not sure when I'm posting these. I feel like I'm going to post them kind of like rapid release situation, but anyway, I'll post another video at some point. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye.